Has anyone ever been visited by the feds for going on this site? Or are the stories of shit like that happening mostly just paranoid anons? For going on this site? Not for visiting 4chan, but I wrote a mean email to G.W. Bush when he was running for re-election in 2004, and was visited by a few SS agents. By mean, I mean overtly threatening. I was specific too, mentioning the Bush family and everything. No, I'm not an internet keyboard terrorist, let me provide some context. B14 saw a campaign email pulled up on my friend's parents' computer. Decided it would be funny to reply saying all kinds of crazy shit. Send it, think nothing of it. A month or so later, get a call from my friend's mom, saying that the Secret Service is there, asking about the email. Fuck. Tell my dad. He says I'm stupid, and I need to own up to it when they get there, so they will see I'm just a kid fucking around. They come to my house. 3 black cars, black windows. 2 of them get out of only 1 car. They had backup. They come in and start talking to me, asking me questions that were purposed to assess my mental state. Have you thought of harming others or yourself? Do you see hallucinations? That kind of stuff. They are apparently convinced that I was indeed some stupid kid fucking around and wasting their time. They shame me for being so stupid, and I felt shamed. They tell me I will be on a list, and I will never be approved for a security clearance. And if I were to go into the military, there is a maximum rank I can't achieve. They leave. I later went to his inauguration. I had been to the first one too, in a school trip, and my group was denied entry. I secretly knew why, but I didn't tell any of them because, well, I was embarrassed. One kid was bawling his eyes out because he didn't get to see his hero, GWB. Sorry, man. To the agents reading this, I'm definitely a good boy now. You already know that, though. 12 years ago, I was warned by staff in the Oz Federal Attorney General's office that a forum I was on was under surveillance by a political team within their department. Never was raided or anything, but I am squeaky clean, apart from shitposting on here. A guy I know who was pulled off an international flight by the feds subsequently had his house entered twice, but nothing taken. Persistent Wi-Fi network ASIO van near his house. Called in for interview twice, if I recall. Basically, he's a big mouth, and a repeat minor party Senate candidate, so he's on their list. A guy I know in the USA was one of the first elite hackers, and a militia member. 20 years later, he's a father of 6, including adopting a couple, the largest landlord in his town, and runs a secure cloud designed to survive a nuclear strike, and does penetration tests on Fortune 500 companies. He funds the local school and is friends with the sheriff. The state police haul him out of the car and prone him at gunpoint whenever he is pulled over, and when Obama was in the nearest city, there was a black Suburban parked outside his house. Once you are listed as armed and dangerous, you never get off of it. The forum we chat on is private. It was used for strategy of the Heller case, among other things. The admin effectively told us that he had received a national security letter requiring him to turn over data when he heavily suggested that we go to Tor, and considering everything we ever said as on there as being public. So yes, surveillance is real, but they keep it low-key until you start spouting off in public and mention guns. Not exactly, but they did figure it out. Be early 2016. Had a restraining order on me because of a misdemeanor battery charge. I got into a fight with my ex's new boyfriend. Didn't get rid of my rifle that I built from 80% receiver. X tips off the courts that I have a rifle. 6 DOJ special agents at my house. They take me into custody and ask me where the rifle is. Tell them cause I don't want them to toss the house. So Anon, where did you learn to build a rifle from an 80%? Begin to say, the internet? When he guesses. K, on 4chan? Yeah. I say, bewildered that a 40-something-year-old Fed knew exactly where I learned how. Super freaked out thinking all of those Fed memes were real. Nothing ever came of it though. They didn't bring it up again, or in court. get charges dropped from prohibited persons possession of a firearm, felony, to a misdemeanor probation violation, due to the length of time between restraining order and arrest. Cleaned up trash on the side of freeway for 14 days. Years ago, I was involved with various anti-globalist groups, before they became anti-white cucks, and with the ecologist movement. There was a bunch of demonstrations over a short period of time. When I was attending one, I used to be the guy in charge of taking photos, to make us look like the glorious heroes of the revolution. The first time everything went well, we were only dealing with regular cops who were making sure that the demonstrations would not turn into chip-outs. But eventually, as more and more people got involved, some strange black cars started to show up. Once, I was followed by one of them in a street as I was walking back to my car. It was slowly driving by my side with fully dark-tinted windows. I was under the impression that they were simply curious because I had a suspicious backpack that was filled with photography gear. It turned out that after that day, every time I would show up at a demonstration, there would be some gray men in regular civilian cars taking pictures of me. Anyways, eventually the whole movement died down, and I never saw these people again. It might sound a bit anticlimactic, but I suppose that they have some sort of dossier about me somewhere. So yeah, keep in mind that as soon as you start to get involved in something politically incorrect, they will document who you are, just in case. If I recall, Edward Snowden revealed that NSA collects data about the fetishes and porn viewing habits of suspected radicals. So, they could be used as blackmail material later on. You think they only blackmail radicals? I believe they've got files on everyone. Some kid today will be blackmailed in 20 years by the deep state feds when he's elected into public office because he spanked it to fake incest porn one time when he was 14. You think you live in a democracy, but under the surface is leverage. And leverage is where the real power lies. I set up a website probably around 6 or so years ago. It was pro-Julian Assange and anti-intelligence agencies. I wrote a few pieces on the matter. I was definitely being followed. One day at work, I had a guy come in and just stare at me constantly, with a slight smirk for about 10 minutes. He was probably mid-40s, bald with a long beard and a bit of a potbelly, and covered in tats. I eventually went over to him and asked him if he needed help. He replied no, and I go to walk away. Then, he asked me who I was. I asked him why, and he said he already knew who I was. That was unnerving. Then, after a few seconds of silence, he asked me what else I did. I said I studied, and he said he knew. Then he just smiled and walked away. After leaving work, regardless of time, there was always an unmarked black Holden there, which subsequently followed me home. This happened for about 2 weeks. Occasionally, I would quickly try to take an unexpected turn to try and evade it, and they would just turn around and follow me. One time I did evade them, but they ended up driving past my house as I parked the car. They always made sure to drive past my house. It was either me writing about Assange or the fact that I was hanging out with a couple of weed dealers around that time. There's a digital file somewhere with everything about you. In it contains more about you than you know about yourself. They have every cell phone number, text, email, all your friends and their friends and family, etc., etc. Your likes, dislikes, profiles on behavior past and predictive. Every place you go, travel times, and modes of travel. How long you were there, and how often you go. Who else was in that location prior and after. Browsing habits, sexual preference, political affiliations, any activist groups you may be a part of, and bad habits. Do you lie, cheat, or steal? Your weaknesses and desires. A list of things that would grant leverage over you. The only question is, who has access to it, and who can use it today and in the days to come? It is quite the beast.